Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Together.
Awesome. So this is our second live Q&A. Got a couple of questions this time, so we'll keep our responses a little shorter in length. But if you're live on here, just feel free to ask anything you want, and we'll definitely get to it by the end of the live. However, some of the questions that were asked on YouTube and in the personal mastery support group, some of them we might not get to, but we'll try to get to every single question. If you are joining on YouTube later on after this has been recorded, know that this live Q&A is brought to you by the Transurfing Reality course. If you want to learn reality transurfing and how to implement it into your life and start to live with the powerful process of reality transurfing to start seeing these changes that you've been wanting to create, click the link in the description box below, enroll in the course, and then you could take part in these lives when they actually happen. All right. So, Lawrence, did you have to add anything before we get started on the questions?
No, pretty much ready to go.
Cool. So we'll start with the questions that were asked here in the group first, and then we'll go on to the support group and then YouTube.
Okay. Can you hear my mic okay?
Say that again.
Can you hear my microphone okay?
Yeah,
or is
perfect.
it got to hold it up? Okay, cool.
It's good. You can just leave it. Okay, so
how's everybody doing?
Okay,
Who's in right now?
I think Kahari's in. Okay, so Sydney asked, what does your morning ritual look like, and how do you incorporate doing transurfing in your daily life? I've discussed my morning ritual personally on YouTube before, but it's mostly along the lines of the act of not doing anything. So in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I go to the bathroom, right? I brush my teeth and everything. And as soon as I get back, I simply meditate for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I will usually just drink my tea. And I listen to a lot of whatever current phase that I'm in. You know, at one point it was a lot of transurfing. At one point, you know, it just, as your journey progresses, you will have different phases where you're following different teachers. You're just looking at different type of material for your personal growth. So for about an hour, or at least like half an hour, I'll be listening to either a YouTube video regarding spirituality, you know, maybe transurfing, something like that, whatever I'm learning currently. And then I'm going to just meditate more. That morning gap of like 2 hours is when I have my best ideas, when I have my most like creative visions, when I have my most like biggest inspirations. So that morning time, I completely like stay off my phone. I don't do any client work. I don't do really anything other than just give myself complete peace of mind, complete clarity. And that becomes the foundation upon which I build the rest of my day. So after I do that, I do an hour of yoga. I have two practices called Surya Kriya, and one is called Shambhavi. And after that happens, then I start my day. Then I get into everything. So my theory behind this is you do things all your entire day. You're always just, you know, in the middle of a swarm of activity. So start your day by actually just gaining mental clarity and setting yourself up to be focused throughout the day. Gain control of your attention in the beginning of the day so that you can actually prolong that and flow that awareness into the rest of your day. Lawrence, how about you?
Yeah, that's really good advice. I definitely agree. It's about setting yourself up for success. And I have a pretty normal morning routine. I wake up usually around 4 or 5. First thing I do is do a little 5-minute journal and just kind of do a brain dump. I do like a dream journal and just kind of get everything out. Then I'll drink some water, take a shower, and I try to meditate. If I don't have time, if I feel like there's something I have to do, then I try to meditate while I'm in the shower. I'll always meditate in the shower, but that'll be when I can meditate, even if I don't have time to sit for 15 minutes. But usually I'll try to sit in bed for 15 minutes and meditate. And as far as how I work reality transurfing into it, after I'm done with my morning routine, then I work out. I'll like lift weights and go for a jog. So that's like I'll wake up, write, meditate, drink some water, work out, take a shower, make breakfast. And my ritual for like that's related to transurfing and how I work it in is after I do that stuff is I'll have a different variation of this depending on if it's the beginning of the week or the middle of the week, but I'll do slide building. I'll review what my target slide is, and I have like a mind map where I've written down where I want to be, like a target slide for what I want to be in 5 years. And then under that, I'll have a corresponding one for what I want to do this year in order to make that 5 years more likely. And then um, I'll have like, what am I going to do this week and this month? And based on that, that'll be where I get my daily tasks for the day. And there's always something to work on. So that's how I like get things from the airy fairy space imagination and kind of draw a map back to my actual physical body so I can actually start doing things. That's how I set it up in the morning of the day.
Awesome.
So just reviewing that chart basically and just making sure I'm still on there and editing if I have to.
Really cool. I also think that just like there's no way to, maybe in the beginning it seems like you are incorporating reality transurfing into your life. However, after a while, you don't even, it's not something you think about. It just becomes your way of living. And what you'll see is that it's not even the transurfing way to live. It's actually just the way to live which is aligned with nature, the way to live which allows you to go through this life with the least friction as possible, with the least amount of obstacles as possible, and actually move towards manifesting what you want rather than like just going in circles or recreating patterns from the past. So, some things that you can say like, okay, doing transurfing, right? What does doing transurfing really mean? One, it probably means being your most authentic self, right? Knowing what you want, being clear about your own goals, what you want, rather than chasing goals of the outside, false goals that have been imposed on you. So pendulums, what we call them. Then following the flow and not fighting against it, visualizing and programming the slide into your subconscious, knowing where you want to be headed, programming the GPS of where you want your navigation system to take you, like which reality you want to go to, what you want your surroundings to look like, following the flow, obviously, using like the coordination method and mirror principles. So yeah, all of that just becomes your lifestyle. It just becomes the way you live. So it's not something that you have to really think about incorporating into your day. It's just like, that's just the way you live. And so there's many different components to that, but for sure, it becomes very natural after a while. Okay, so second question is from Kahari, and he asked, how does weed affect manifestation?
How does
weed
affect manifestation? Sure. How does weed, that's a really kind of vague question.
I actually got it in the support group the other day too.
Say what?
I actually got this in the other group today, the other day as well, the same question.
Okay. Well, marijuana can affect manifestation kind of, I mean, marijuana, first of all, it affects everyone differently. Some people, I know people who they smoke weed every day and they run $1 million businesses. And I know people, hold on, sorry, I got a text message. And myself, I've smoked weed and felt super lazy. The thing with marijuana that you have to be careful with is that it increases the dopamine level in your brain, and that can affect your motivation level. So I myself have been like, I'll wake up one day and I'll be super motivated to work on some project, and I'll choose to smoke first, and before you know it, all my motivation is just drained away. I don't even feel like doing it anymore because it takes over that reward center in your brain that makes you feel content. And if you overdo it, it can start to erode your self-esteem, and it can start to erode your motivation to where you don't feel like doing anything because that part of your brain, that reward center of your brain, has already been so oversaturated that it doesn't look at action, at inspired action, and it's your judgment isn't clouded from receiving inspired action. I'm sorry, I got to turn this text off. You're clouded because your, let's say your appetite has been spoiled in a manner of speaking. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's also the fact that marijuana can be expensive, and just getting these texts.
To just give you my take on it, if you want to stop the texting thing while I speak, you can do that. But to just give you my take on it, and this is what I said to the person who asked it in my support group and someone on YouTube as well. I think you just have to be really clear on whatever you are consuming, right? It could be anything, even food. But generally, like when you're talking about things like alcohol, weed, everything like that, be very clear on how it makes you feel, like become conscious while you're doing it. And then a couple of days after, how it affects your state of being. If you notice that those things are clouding your brain, right? Clouding your judgment, if they are suppressing your will, which I've experienced and a lot of other people that I see, they suppress your will to a certain degree if they're consumed constantly and repetitively, meaning you really won't feel like doing things. You will be less motivated to take the action that's actually necessary or you're being inspired to take. And you'll just be in a lower vibration state. So if you feel like those things are affecting you in that way, then yes, it will affect, you know, manifesting your goals in a negative way. However, again, there are people who use all of those things, but then they're still succeeding. Why? Because they can maintain the state of mind necessary. They can maintain the vibration necessary and the action or just the will necessary to succeed or to do well in life and to accomplish their own personal goals. So you really have to kind of just experiment with yourself. If you feel like it is suppressing your will and putting you in a low vibration state, which you can be just clear with yourself and just you have to be real, all right? Like admit if it is making you feel that way. If you still continue to use it, then it's unconscious behavior because you know that it's not actually helping you in any way, but you're still doing it because out of compulsiveness and reactivity.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the way, then you are being unconscious and you are going to create that pattern in your life where you really feel like doing it, you do it, and then you feel guilty. So that's like another low vibration state that's never going to help you succeed. Be real with yourself if you are in that state and then take the proper action to let go of that stuff or replace it with something else that would actually help you. Other than that, if you feel like it's not affecting you in any negative way, continue to do it.
Yeah. And also, again, like the question, how does it affect manifestation? Like you could ask that about anything. How does it affect manifestation?
Yeah.
Just following the same line of it affects everyone differently. If it helps you, because many people use marijuana medicinally with no problems and who don't use it recreationally at all. So that's just to drive the point home. It affects everyone differently, and it's more about, like you said, how do you handle yourself, and it's more about knowing yourself and knowing what your limits are and what's good for you.
It's very useful if you divide everything that you consume, like food included, drinks included, into high vibration, low vibration. And you just start looking at like with that filter, you start to decide what you're going to consume, what you're going to take part in life, and what you're just going to avoid. Even like, things like cake or things that might not make you feel bad after. Once you start looking at that stuff as like low vibration, knowing how the state that it's going to put you in after, then you're less likely to consume it. So I do this for myself personally. I've been becoming much more conscious of the things that I put in my body. Literally yesterday, my cousin just graduated her master's, so like we had the cheesecake at home, and I ate a lot of cheesecake, and I remember and I felt like pretty shitty at night, and then also the next day, like I mean today, like this morning, I just see how a lot of sugar affects my brain, and just like like you gain a certain amount of mental clarity after doing a lot of yoga and meditating every single day, that once you start consuming these foods, you start to really like become conscious of what food is making your body feel. And when you really identify that, then you got to make a decision. Am I going to continue doing this? and continue to prolong the state, or am I just gonna avoid this and go towards the path that I know I want to?
Oh yeah, I know that all too well. You just met Gabby. You could ask her. I could eat probably an entire gallon of ice cream in one sitting if someone let me and didn't take it away from me.
Damn.
And yeah, the night that night is it's great and all, but even even the minutes, an hour, 2 hours afterwards, your body that feels that slowness from eating the
Yeah.
sugar and the fats and those lower vibration foods. And let's not talk about the morning afterwards.
We want to move away from
Yeah, yeah.
unconscious behavior. The thing is, the more unconscious you are, the less power you will have to choose the reality that you want, right? Like the more you will subject yourself to these low vibration realities. So there comes a time when you have to make a decision. Is what I'm doing going to help me and like take me higher in vibration, higher in consciousness? Does this food or this whatever I'm looking at, this activity support a higher consciousness, or does it actually just bring my state down? Then you have to make a decision.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's okay. Like obviously, you don't have to be so strict about it. For the most sense,
Hmm.
like avoid it. But then sometimes go for it. It's fine. Control. That's all you
Hmm.
want. So the next question
I
is
think
by. Okay,
congruency
go
is a
on.
good word for that.
Say that again.
Sorry, just really quick. I think congruency.
Yeah.
I like to think back at the word congruency when I think about that. When you're trying to figure out what if something's right or wrong, um, congruency is what you want to go for because, like you said, there's a time where you can eat a piece of cake and that can actually be good for your soul, right?
Yeah.
But at a time like that, when you know that if you feel congruent with it, if you feel good about it, if you could do something that's not so harmful but not super harmful, but you just know that you just shouldn't do it, even if you know that it won't kill you today. Like you don't have congruency if there's some back of your mind, you know that it's a better idea to make a different choice.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But yeah, sorry.
So next question is by Selena, and it is one, how to move into a reality wherein a specific past is different, and two, how to ensure someone keeps their promise. Okay. So for the first question, how to move into a reality wherein a specific past is different. I get this question a lot of times where it's like how to change the past or can you change the past? It's really funny. It's paradoxical because believing vividly in that specific past that you are trying to get rid of is the only thing that is continuing to is the only thing that is keeping that past operating in the now. You have to realize that what you are living right now, the reality you are living right now, is not connected to a previous reality that you lived. So this is something that I went really deep into in my recent parallel realities video, but we have to understand when we just a general oversense, every reality is stationary. It does not move. It's like a photo, right? Like even me moving my hand from here to here, we just went through like millions of parallel realities where nothing actually moved. It's
Mm-hmm.
just one parallel reality where my hand was here and then here, like so many like that. Your
Yeah.
consciousness manifesting those realities in the now creates this sense of continuity, and it's helpful, right? Because it allows us to actually have make sense of some sort of experience. But nothing is moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually speaking, right? Like everything is already done, everything already is, and we're consciousness is just sifting through these realities so fast that you can't perceive it. So one thing to understand is that a past reality, as much as you would like to think it is connected to the now, it is not. Past is not the cause of the present or the future. Consciousness is the cause of the now. Your state of being is what is determining your current reality and your future reality. Or actually, your past state of being determined your present reality, and your current state of being is determining what's coming next. So it's very,
Mm-hmm.
we could go into a lot more detail about this, but realize that if in this now you identify that that specific past occurred and you are carrying all those feelings, all those vibrations into the now, then you are using your state of being to project that past in the now. And then that is going to hold you and is going to keep you creating that kind of past in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get
Yeah.
rid of that past, get rid of identification with it as much as you can. Just stop thinking about it altogether. Stop giving it so much of your energy and instead stay focused on what you want to create. So be a forward thinking being. Project the future rather than thinking about the past. What happened in the past, as cliche it might sound, it has no meaning in the now. You don't have to identify with it. You will still be you. And you could actually, what you could do to really like, if you really need some closure, believe that you experienced a different past, because that past that you experienced was one of the photos, the frames of of realities, of the infinite realities that you could have experienced, out of the infinite pasts you could have experienced. So it doesn't make that particular past any more real than any of the other ones, because they also had the same potential to manifest just as that one past did. However, your current state of being at that time just created that past. So it's okay, allow it to be, accept it.
Mm-hmm.
You could just believe it to be different now. And if you don't want to, if you think that's too hard, then just forget about the past altogether. And the most beneficial thing that you could do is become forward thinking and then project a future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. The question was, how do you shift to a reality where a specific past is different?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I pretty much agree with what you said. You don't really n- need to worry about that. The past doesn't exist anyway. So you don't need to shift to a reality where you have a different past. You could have any past you want right now in your imagination. You have a string of memories which fixates a certain idea of the past in your mind, but not even that is accurate. Over the years, shh. Why only when I'm talking? Come on. Over the years, your mind distorts memories all the time. Science has already proven this. We all do it. So not even your current idea of the past is even true anyway. So you may as well abandon it. And the purpose of any idea of the past is just to provide an idea of continuity for just for functional reasons.
Yeah.
There's no real purpose in trying to go to a different reality where your past is. That doesn't even really make sense, because like you already said it, like the reality you're in right now is the reality you're in right now, and you have the choice to define what that is. And the other question was
Yeah,
was
very well said.
how
And
do
then
you
the second question is how to ensure that someone keeps their promise.
okay, so I know one surefire way to make sure that you never hear a broken promise. And that way is to never ask anyone to make a promise to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ensure that anyone keeps a promise to you. And in my opinion, I don't think you should want to anyway. That's textbook attachment
Yeah.
to outcomes. Um, to be attached to what others do and say, whether they promise it or not, is putting your power outside of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. How to ensure someone keeps their promise? You can't. You really can't. Like, and that's one thing you gotta just let go of. Your need to control other people, your need to get happiness if other people act a certain way or are a certain way or show you a certain amount of love. Let go of that. If you continue to do that, again, like Lawrence said, you will continue to put your power outside of you. You will continue to derive your sense of worth and well-being from seeing things and getting things outside of you. When you just put that power back into you and realize that that is your only power, like, right, like choosing to feel good now, choosing to feel good regardless of what happens, then if someone keeps their promise or doesn't keep their promise, won't even matter. So until you keep, if you keep needing things from other people, then you are setting yourself up to get disappointed again and again. Know that you are the only thing that you can control in this life. Nothing out on the outside of you can fully control, but you can always control your state of being, yourself, what you believe to be true, right? Like that is all your choice. So make that
Mhm.
choice.
Mhm.
Next question is from Maria, who asked, how to stop repeating the same year and reality, even if you know you're doing it.
So
So
like how to stop like the same like self-fulfilling prophecy or like
I think what she
habit.
means is how to just stop living the same life, you know, for years and years and years. So, I mean, this is something that so many people are just stuck doing, living the same life again and again and again. And like they want change, they want this adventure, but they can't do it. Why? Because in this present moment, in the now, they are looking at their present circumstances, their physical circumstances, and defining them. They're labeling them, they're judging them, and they're trying to manipulate them, forgetting that their present circumstances are created by their past vibrations, their past state of being, and whatnot, right? So, what was is what you are experiencing right now. And when you look at what is and you are defining it, and then you derive feelings from it, so you create your current state of being from looking at your physical circumstances. What you're doing is you're using your past, because your present circumstances is the past. Look at it like that. If you use your past to determine your current state of being, which is creating your future, then you're going to keep creating your past as the future. And you create a loop for yourself. And this is what we call in reality transurfing the feedback reality loop, where you constantly allow your reflection, which is all your physical circumstances, including your body, when you allow your reflection to control the image that is being reflected. If you allow the reflection to control the image, which will then create a further reflection that you won't like to see, you will continue to stay in this loop where your life becomes worse and worse and worse. And even if it's in a minor degree, it will continue to spiral that way. The way to not repeat the same reality again and again is to stop looking at what is as the truth, to stop looking at what is and defining it as bad and labeling it as negative and looking at the limitations in the now. Instead of being so physically focused, be imaginative, be a forward thinking being where you are constantly projecting a future, where you are constantly using the power of your now and you stepping into it and using the power of your awareness to experience the infinite realities that you have at your disposal in the now. In the now, right? The future is also going to just be in the now. That future reality that you want to manifest exists simultaneously in the now. So use your power of your consciousness to experience that reality. Imagine, right? And allow that to create your state of being. When you allow that to create your state of being and you feel good, you feel positive, you feel powerful, then what comes next? Something new, not your past vibrations repeating themselves over and over again. So that's my answer.
Okay. Kahari also asked the question. We'll get to it. Okay. So I want to tie that into something a little bit practical too. We as humans have a tendency, our brains, when we do the same thing every day, constantly, it tends to create grooves. It actually, scientists have looked at it, it actually creates physical grooves in our brain matter when we constantly take the same processes, do the same things every day. And the deeper they get, the harder they are to get out of. And one way to counteract this and to keep your mind fresh is to simply do different things. Keep yourself fresh with new experiences. Even from small things to when you go to work, drive a different way to work, take a different route, or walk instead of, or take the bus. So just do something different, or just eat at some place you wouldn't normally go to. Just try different things, and these actually will add up. These experiences will add up, and it'll start to help you find little proverbial nicks in the road where you can hop out of those grooves, and you can discover new inspirations, new ideas, discover that you like something else more, and it could one day you'll take a dance class and that'll change the course of your entire life.
100%. Yeah. Breaking routine is such a big thing.
Yeah, break
So yeah,
routine.
don't look at what is and define it, and then go do more things. Go do things that you've never done before. Break out of your habit patterns. Try new things. Experience new things. So let's get to Kari's question. What do you do if you found yourself in a false goal? I have been creating videos for other people for money, and now I want to make more travel videos and passion projects, becoming a social media influencer. So for those of you who don't know what a false goal is, it is a goal that has been imposed on you from the outside, from the external reality. Okay. Um, Usually, just to give you an example of this goal, usually these goals come from comparing yourself to other people. So let's just say your neighbor tomorrow pulls up with a Ferrari in his driveway, and you look at his Ferrari and you're like, damn, that's nice. He's living the life. I want a Ferrari too, right? So that's a goal that stems from your mind based on comparison, because the mind is constantly looking to protect its worth and enhance its worth in society. So it looks at and compares its experience to other people and then derives its goals from these shiny objects that it sees. Now, you could want a Ferrari. There's nothing wrong with wanting a Ferrari if your heart truly desires a Ferrari. But if it's just because you're comparing yourself to your neighbor and now you want a Ferrari, then usually you're setting yourself up for this false goal, which will most likely not manifest and will also cause you a lot of struggle and obstacles on the way to trying to manifest that goal. So a key part of transurfing is to steer clear of all of these false goals and actually just pursue what your heart desires. Example of this in my life is all throughout my life, I just wanted to kind of prove my worth and wanted to be better than my friends, especially in college. So I wanted to get like a job in finance, making a certain amount of money. I even only picked finance because I wanted to make money, right? So there was no passion there. There was no nothing. Like I just wanted to go in finance. So I majored in finance and wanted to get a job that was making more money than my friends. Why? Because of false goals, because of comparison, because of goals born in the mind, not in the heart. While I was graduating, I realized that that's not at all what I wanted to do. I realized more and more of my own passions, and then I started following that. So now what I'm doing is more aligned with what my heart truly desires, which is a real goal versus the false goal, which was like that finance job. So in terms of Kari, your experience that you have been creating videos for other people for money, and now you want to make more travel videos and passion projects. See, right there, you are still creating videos. So am I to understand that video is still a part of your passion, of your heart's true desire? If that's the case, then why not do a balance of both? Where you continue to do what you're doing for money, which is creating videos for other people and for money, right? But at the side, you also start building your own passion, just believing in yourself and actually taking a chance on yourself and doing whatever your heart compels you to do. Always make it a habit to listen to your heart, because your heart is truly always compelling you to do something. It's going to be the subtle feeling where you are feeling inspired for a certain project or a certain to go to a certain area. So try to tap more and more into that. And for that, you need mental clarity. You need to be in a high vibration state to recognize those hearts, go here, do this, do this. So start to follow your heart. However, keep a balance of also doing your work. Over time, you can do more and more of your passion and then leave this. But if you really want to go in on this, on yourself, follow your passion entirely. It is my experience that when you just forget about everything else, forget about money, forget about everything else, and simply follow your passion with full faith while maintaining a high vibration state and staying positive and being forward thinking rather than, being negative about what is now, then life will always support you. Your life is at all times a reflection of you. So if you are in a good state and you are following your passion, your life becomes a reflection of passion. It's an experience that I personally had. I had a lot of fear, in the past, or in the first year that I really started this journey. but over time, like you just like kind of start letting go of these fears and start to really like stay in that high vibration state longer and longer, which actually creates this well-being in your life. But absolutely, the more you follow your passion, the more your life becomes a living embodiment of passion. So you never want to get stuck in doing things that you want to that you have also already defined as a false goal. Once you've defined it, start to like detach from it and like let it go. Start to go to more towards where your heart is compelling you to go, and it will always take care of you. Life will always take care of you.
Mm.
Lawrence, you seem frozen on my is my video still good on your end?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the
I can hear
video
you.
is frozen. Maybe that's just on my
Oh,
screen though.
that's weird. Let me
It's okay. I think it's
check
probably
my
just on my
screen.
yeah. Check the recording if
No,
anything.
okay, I'll just check. Yeah, I'm moving. I'm like,
Cool.
I think we're okay. Yeah. So if you find yourself in a false goal, I think you pretty much said it. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. You just kind of keep continuing. What else can you do? Use that as contrast. Use that as just a way contrast to work out, tell what you want and what you don't want. It's life is an ongoing process of discovering what you truly desire and what's actually good for you. And maybe just at this stage of life, you worked on this step as long as it's what you were meant to, and it's taught you what you needed to know. Because maybe if you didn't go and do these videos and start this video business, maybe you would have never even figured out that that's what you wanted to do later, was to become a influencer and do more passion projects. So it's all just a process, and I would say just keep heart. Use that just as a lesson. Consider it a step on the journey, and consider that your journey is just a journey. It is what it is, and this is just was just one step. And also, I think that was a good suggestion you made. That why not take that business, take that cash flow, and work it into the next thing you want to do, and do a hybrid. Because like same thing with this, like with me, I want to do passion projects. There's things I want to do. I want to make games. I want to have like a indie game studio. And right now I have a small studio with like it's just all volunteers, and it's going slow, but we still have to take and I still have to do freelance work, and we still have to take commission work to keep the lights on and keep things going to fund that passion. So it's a matter of just knowing what you do want to do, and even if you have to take a job, do some gigs to cash flow your project, or to fund, or to keep your lights on, or just to keep money going so that you can achieve your dreams. Um, as long as you're focused on why you're doing it, then doing those things. First of all, helicopter. While you're doing that work, that necessary work to keep your lights on, you'll be more inspired and you'll be more motivated to do it. And furthermore, you're gonna probably have more inspired and better ideas, in my opinion, for businesses to do, or jobs to take, or things to do, or paths to take, because you're acting from that inspired place. So I would say, if Kari, if I've seen some of your posts before, it seems like you enjoy making videos, and media is something you enjoy. So maybe you're uncovering just a pathway that you're is more suitable for you, and you can take your passion for videos and what you want to do and utilize it, and bill for it, basically charge for it.
Yeah, that's great insight. Um, Journey is beautiful. Journey is it's always unfolding in crazy ways. So take that and go with it. Next question is by Gianni, who asked, is it beneficial to journal while visualizing an alternate reality, and does it relate to transurfing? Yeah, actually, this is something that would really help. I know a lot of people say when they're when they're just getting to visualization, they're like, oh, I don't know how to imagine, or I'm not good at imagination. I can only imagine things in black and white, or like I can't continue to imagine for long periods of time. It's because we haven't really built up our faculty of imagination, you know? All your life, you've been told that imagination is not a good thing. Imagination is not useful. It's just pointless. So we don't really imagine things. We do it unconsciously. We just daydream, but like, and that even creates our reality to a certain extent. So yes, I think in the beginning, especially when you're getting into visualization, what you can do is like you could write out a page of this life that you are trying to create. I did this myself. Um, just writing out like in detail certain things about your life, but after you have already achieved your goal, right? So the transurfing method of visualization is not visualizing your goal like while you are achieving it, but rather after you have already achieved it, what does your life look like? So for example, if you want to win the New York City marathon or something, you're not going to visualize yourself like getting first place, like finally like winning. What you're going to be visualizing yourself doing is after you have already won the race, what does your day look like, right? What does your life look like? What do you do every single day? So write a description of that on a piece of paper. It could be detailed. And then, while you are reading it, start to imagine it at the same time. So you could use the writing as a visual aid for your imagination. And then over time, you will see that you won't even naturally need the writing. You could just imagine on yourself. The more you practice visualization, the better you will get at it, and the more effective it will become for you. So that's the way it relates to transurfing. Do it in a way that you put the goal's achievement in the past already. It's already a done deal. It's already been done. Now you are resonating and radiating and emitting the energy of the version of you that has already achieved your goal. So yes, go ahead and start journaling while visualizing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it could definitely couldn't hurt. And I have read things about how writing things, especially with your handwriting on paper, can actually help you create deeper impressions on your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're visualizing, and that's actually why in the practice of lucid dreaming, a lot of people ask about lucid dreaming, and I've mentioned that I practice a little bit of it. That's why when you're doing lucid dreaming, you're supposed to keep a dream journal because you actually remember your dreams a lot better when you wake up and start writing them down. And the more you write, the more you remember. And that's why they say that even when you're doing things like, what's it called? Stream of consciousness writing, that the reason you do that by hand is because writing by hand increases the impression on your brain. So I do think that if you take notes while you're visualizing, it'll actually help. It'll actually help your brain actually visualize better and remember more of your visualize and help your focus. So yeah, do it.
Awesome. Next question is by Sarah. She asked, how to align with the reality you choose when faced with doubt, because the other reality you choose includes wanting a person outside of ourselves to show up, behave, be different. If we can't choose a reality for another, then how do we manage this for ourselves? This goes back to what we spoke about before. As long as you continue to want things out from others, if you want other people to act a certain way, behave a certain way, be a certain way, you're putting your power outside. You are now attaching your state of being, which is basically your future. Think of your state of being now as your future. So you're attaching your state of being to this specific person on the outside of you, who you have no idea how they will act and how they will treat you. As much as they might love you, you can never control how they will treat you, what they will do. They have their own free will. And ask yourself, do you want the free will to choose your own future? Do you want the free will to be you? Do you want the free will to do what you want to do in life? If yes, then you have to give other people the same right. There, in transurfing, it
Mhm.
says it so simply. It's like allow yourself to be you and give others the same privilege. We often don't allow ourselves to be us. We are constantly trying to be somebody else to gain approval, but then also we don't even allow other people to be themselves. We always want them to act a certain way. So like we always want things from other people. That's why so many relationships fail. It's just constant wanting rather than just being yourself and allowing them to be themselves and then trying to co-create life together. So don't try to create anybody else's reality. Don't try to control anybody else's reality. How do you manage this for yourself? Get into control of your state of being. Learn to detach your state of being, how you feel, from what is going on outside. If it's too attached, then again, your reflection will always control the image and you will be caught up in that negative reality loop. Whereas when you create a clear separation and distinction between how you feel, which is always under your control, regardless of what is happening on the outside, then it works so well. And you can actually accelerate your reality creation process in a really profound way. One, you can always choose to feel good, which is what we're all really in it for. You want the reality you want to manifest your goals because you want to feel good. Learn the wisdom of that a little bit and choose to be happy now. Choose to feel light. Choose to feel like the creator right now. So that will create your future in a positive way. But then also, you will automatically just let go of defining outside things. That's a really bad habit, being physically focused, just looking at what is, looking at your partner, looking at your finances, looking at your just your body, your goals, and then defining them to be a certain way, judging them and believing things to be about them. That's all creating your future. Let go of that. Step into your own power. Choose how you feel, moment by moment, and choose to feel good.
Yeah. Classic. What was the whole question again?
How to align with the reality you choose when faced with doubt, because the other reality that you choose includes wanting a person outside of ourselves to show up, behave, be different. If we can't choose the reality of another, then how do we manage this for ourselves?
Okay, so you're feeling I hope this isn't too much of a stretch here, but you're feeling doubt because you're imagining a reality that includes something that you are aware that you have no right to. I think that's could be the source of the doubt. You already know that you can't ask for that you have no right to command or demand any other person outside of yourself to do or behave any way you decide, no matter how right you might be or think you are. That is attachment. We have to remember that one of the most important things is attachment to outcomes is extremely limiting. And as long as you're attached to an outcome, even when things go right, you're still not going to be happy. You could get exactly what you asked for. If you're attached to that outcome, you're still not going to be satisfied. If you're always just open and ready and to receive what you receive, experience what you experience, and value it for what it is, and just like you said, choose to be happy now in that, then you'll always be happy. You'll always have a reason to be happy. You always have something to be happy about, happy for, and thankful for. That's why gratitude is very, very useful. Is to stay grateful for what you have. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend being attached to any outcome, especially if it involves movement of other people or changing other people, because you just can't change other people.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. So next question is by Gabriel. So we have only so much time, so we'll do 3 more questions, which are from the Facebook group. So I'm not getting into any of the YouTube questions today. Maybe we'll do it some other time. But just to let you know, if you would like to be part of these lives when they're actually happening, click the link in the description box below, enroll in the Reality Transurfing course, learn the process of Reality Transurfing so that you can add to this conversation, ask your questions live while these lives are happening. So we'll definitely get to your questions every single time. So Gabriel asked, how is the better way to manifest fame in Hollywood dream lifestyle? What do you think is important to do every single day? So Personally, I have never manifested that, but I'll kind of give my insight on what like the steps that you should take. You always want to be clear about what the life of your ideal version of you would look like.
Hey.
So a lot of times, a lot of us have goals. We want to be somebody, we want to do things, and we see the benefits of what that reality has to offer. We see the outside picture of what that reality has to offer, but we don't actually know what that reality requires us to be, the type of person that reality requires us to be, the type of beliefs that reality requires us to hold about ourselves, and so on and so forth. So, one way you can really help yourself to that kind of lifestyle is first getting clear about what that life looks like through visualization. Once you start to put yourself in the shoes of the Gabriel that has already achieved the fame and Hollywood dream lifestyle, you will start to, like as you visualize that more and more and more, you will start to notice things about that reality that you didn't know previously, that you never thought about previously. You could also even study the people who are already living that lifestyle, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk, the way they move, the way their body feels, the way, everything. Really get clear about those things. But you want to always just think about how it will feel, how it will be after you have already achieved that Hollywood dream lifestyle. Because by doing that, you are connecting your vibration to, and you're matching the vibration of the version of you, the Gabriel who has already achieved that lifestyle, who is already living that lifestyle. So get really clear on that. You can watch some of my other visualization videos on it. Um, and you can also, in the reality transurfing course, you would learn part of how to match this vibration to your ideal self so that you can start downloading that reality into your now. And it starts manifesting in kind of magical ways. And the flow of your life starts to get directed towards that goal. But it all has to do with getting really clear and feeling and living in your mind first that reality, getting completely comfortable with the parameters of that reality and the person you have to be to manifest that.
Yeah, definitely agree. It's really important to be the person. You said he was asking how to achieve Hollywood fame.
Yeah, how to manifest fame and Hollywood dream lifestyle. What do you think is important to do
Fame and
every
Hollywood
day?
dream lifestyle. Important to do every day. Well, yeah, to every day, what's most important to do is just what Sunny said, be the person you intend to be. And I want to say something, I want to clarify something, because a lot of people say act as if and do be who you, but they don't really make it really clear what that means. If I when I say act as if, I mean in every second of every day. Like, I'm, if you're listening right now, take a breath, just take a deep breath and exhale, and take stock of how that feels. And then imagine that you are already living the dream lifestyle, all the fame and fortune you could want. You have all the details of what you're imagining, and then breathe again. Take another inhale, another exhale, and hold the thought in your mind that I'm breathing like that person. The oxygen that goes through this nose, this is the nose of that person. I'm breathing that person's oxygen. When you walk down the street, literally feel how you're walking, like feel your body, and ask yourself, if I was already there, if I was already living a dream Hollywood lifestyle, if I was already feeling that way, how would I walk? Because if you go inside and really look at it, you would probably walk a slightly different way. You would most definitely feel a subtle internal difference in your body. Like, I'm doing it right now and I feel a difference in my body right now. You can actually feel it when you breathe, when you walk, when you blink, when you look at someone, when you smile at someone. Every movement, do it knowing that I am that person person. And then when you go to do larger movements, like when you're asking yourself, what should I do today? Ask yourself that from that place. I am this person, so what do I do today? And that's probably going to be something that falls in line with what you're going for. If you suck at acting right now, Gabriel, that's probably going to mean that you're going to say, I want to go to acting class, or I want to go to a voice class, or I want to practice my writing, or whatever field of Hollywood or whatever you want to be into. You have to start doing that. And it would be like an arisal from I am already that person. This is what I do, not what am I gonna do to get there. What do I do right now as this person? What do I want to do? And you might challenge me and say, well, I would drive my Ferrari down the beach, but where's my Ferrari, Lawrence? I don't have a Ferrari. That's what I would do. Then I would say, okay, so if you're that person currently, like imagine you switched bodies and you just switched. You're that person and you don't have your Ferrari yet. You don't have that cash bank account yet. But if you're still that person, you don't need those things to feel like that person. So if you would say, well, I would drive my Ferrari down the beach, but you're saying it from the place of standing of I am this person. I'm not going to doubt it. I'm not, oh, I'm this person if I get a Ferrari. I am this person. So being this person with what I do have right now, what would I do? Maybe I'd go on a nice jog on the beach and show off my awesome Hollywood body, or build that awesome Hollywood body with a jog on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always a step, and you can always be who you want to be. You don't need to have any of the material outside physical details of it.
Yeah, great answer. So take that information and really apply it into your life directly, Gabriel. Last two questions. So Kerry asked, what to do when motivation dwindles? Want to give up on not seeing results, or feeling like one step forward, two step backwards? Motivation is interesting. I feel like a lack of motivation stems from not defining your priorities clearly to yourself. A lot of people live in a state of not truly knowing what they really want. They think they know what they want, but they aren't really sitting, like, making it clear to themselves and deciding that this is what I want and this is what I'm choosing. Okay, so when you make that decision, where in reality transurfing, that is a big part of this whole process of the reality creation process. Lawrence, I'm hearing too much replay.
When you make that decision, sorry, I had to run inside. Where in reality, my bad. Go ahead.
But a big part of reality transurfing and just really creating your reality, if you want to do it in a positive and conscious way, you have to make decisions. Creating reality is a decision. Once you create a decision, action flows from that. Everything you do, the way you live, flows according to that decision that you made. Now, the state that most people live in, where they don't really know what they want, they're just being tugged and pulled in all different directions from all these different things. And their life becomes a reflection of a lack of prioritization. And then they don't get what they want, which leads to a lack of motivation. And even when they do try to go for something, they don't still fully make that decision. And let's say some resistance comes their way, they don't follow through with something, or let's just say your goal is just to lose weight, right? But you haven't really clearly decided, and you don't really clearly state to yourself that this is what you want, this is what you're choosing. Now let's say 3 days go by and you're doing well. Now the fourth day comes and the really intense craving for some chocolate cake comes. You are more likely to indulge in that if you aren't yet fully clear and prioritizing the life that you want more than these little kind of cravings that and these little things that are always tugging and pulling at you, right? So that action will now lead to creating a different type of reality, an unconscious, like a reality in which you're further perpetuating more unconscious behavior. So that's what leads to the lack of motivation. So, right, like motivation isn't even necessary for people who make a decision, a firm decision. When you make a decision about what you want, get really clear about what that life looks like and who you have to be to live that life. Only a certain version of you can support a particular reality. The reality that you want cannot be supported by the person who you are right now. The beliefs that you have right now about yourself and reality cannot support that future reality that you want. So get clear on all of that and then live your life in accordance with those values, with those principles, with those priorities. And you will see that there's no need for motivation. After a while, it just kind of everything just assimilates all together and you continue to move together and then you continue to have new desires and then you make a decision to have them and then life continues to bring them there because you are living in integrity with what you want, with who you are, with who you have decided to be and become. And then there's no motivation that you need. And you will never be taking one step forward, two steps backwards. Because also on that lifestyle, you will realize that every step is valuable, that even like these little setbacks are valuable. Like we mentioned in the Kahari principle, the example before, where he was like, I'm doing this right now, but I want to do this. But maybe he wouldn't even had an idea to have these passion projects and video projects if he wasn't making videos for other people, right? So there's no such thing as, constantly one step forward, two step backwards on a journey towards something that you have truly decided to want. Every step back is just another step that actually brings you that much more forward. Everything unfolds the way that it should. So make a decision and follow through with that decision. Your goals, your dreams are decisions. Tell yourself that every single day and tell yourself further and affirm to yourself that you always follow through with your decisions. That way, the anxiety about the end result also starts to vanish. It's a beautiful process, but you have to be clear on what you want.
Definitely. The only thing I'd add to that is also alongside that is watch your importance levels.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a reason you could be feeling that way is if you're putting too much importance on the outcomes. So that goes back to the attachment idea as well.
Perfect. So last question by Toka. She asked, how can we have a breakthrough in our lives? I know small wins are important, but sometimes people, including me, seek the big wins, like achieving a major goal. Also, what do you think? Okay, so there's a different question afterwards, so we'll get to that after. But do you want to start with this one? How can we have a major breakthrough in our lives? I know small wins are important, but sometimes people, including me, like the big wins, like achieving a major goal.
Major goals are, what's the saying? I don't know the saying, but basically, you don't. There isn't really. That's a myth. Like,
Yeah.
there's no such thing really as a big win or a big goal. It's all accumulation of little small wins
Mm-hmm.
and fails. Probably even more losses. Like, yeah, that's probably my answer. Big wins are A big win is an accumulation on lots of fails and small wins.
Yep.
And it just looks like it to the outside people, like, oh, you did that, woo. I mean, every time someone, tell me if this is like, if you had experience like this, but whenever I achieve something and people compliment me and say, oh, that's so amazing, it's almost like you saying how amazing it is almost like a downplay of how much work and actual like failing went into this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like there's no real big win. It's just sometimes there's a payoff. Like you work for a long time and you fail a lot and win some and fail some and win some, and then you might hit critical mass and something goes right for you. But even that critical mass is an accumulation of just a large amount of work. basically.
um, I absolutely agree with that. I don't think that what do you call, big wins aren't possible, right? Like, but you do have to understand that big wins are a result of just small daily wins, small daily decisions to feel good in the now, to love the journey, to love yourself, to love the world, to continue to do what you were passionate about, continue to do your object of work, whatever that is, and just pursuing every day like, it is your personal project. There's a book by Aubrey Marcus. I think it's titled "Win the Day, Win Your Life." So realize that the reality that you want is going to be created little by little, one step at a time. That's the nature of physical reality, right? Like, you as consciousness, you already are everything. You are infinite, eternal. You already have access to everything that is or can be or was. But the beauty of this physical dimension, the reason consciousness limits itself to such a limited perspective is to watch a journey unfold where it can have a perspective of something coming about little by little, something expanding, something becoming more than what it was. But from a greater perspective, everything already is, right? So don't seek to make these big jumps. Be open to them, right? Be open to miracles. Be open to your goals becoming manifested in magical ways. Don't be so rigid in like how things need to come into play and happen. But at the same time, don't constantly seek miracles every single day, because then you will kind of set yourself up for disappointment. Be open to them, but don't rely on them. Rely on your state of being. Rely on your own power, your own decisions, your own choices, and just win just win moment by moment, day by day, year by year. And you will see that literally, like, I've noticed this myself personally, right? Like, my journey has only really started. I've only started the past like year and a half, 2 years or so. And throughout the journeys, there have been so many times where I just felt like I wasn't moving or I wasn't progressing, and life seemed to just be going in the same way every single day. But like, when I look back over a larger period of time, everything is different. I am different. My whole life is different. So realize this reality was created a day at a time, and most of the change that happened was underneath the surface of my perception. So even though you might not think that you are moving and you're making these big leaps, you really are. And if you live consciously, you will learn that much more, you will grow that much more, and you will be that much more available to your goals happening in miraculous ways. So don't seek the big wins, but be open to them. Don't rely on them, but be open to them. Now, so last part of a question is also, what do you think of anger? Some teachers abhor anger, saying that it is not spiritual, while some take a better stance on it by saying it's much better than being sad, for example, but also advises to not delve into it too much. Moderation is the key, they say. If you could never be angry again, that's perfect. However, the way to do it is not to suppress your anger. The way to do it is becoming conscious of your anger and becoming conscious of how that anger is not you. The reason the anger controls you and takes over you in the moment that it happens is because of your unconscious identification with the anger, which usually stems from, you know, relying on external circumstances to go your way. When something happens that you don't agree with, you get angry. And so first problem is your attachment of your state of being to external circumstances. And then second is an unconscious identification with the anger itself. So one of the really effective methods that you will find is, when the anger is happening or after it has already happened, if you weren't able to control yourself, start to feel the anger within your body. Start to become very conscious of how it manifests in your body, and simply just watch it. Over time, you will start to break this identification with the anger. You will stop thinking that the anger is you, right? What this means is not to focus on the object of anger. Don't think about and don't focus on what is making you angry, but rather focusing on the feeling of anger itself, how it feels and manifests in your body. Just feel how it feels. You'll know, like, you know, the heat, the heart beating, everything. Feel that. Over time, this identification will break, and you will start to catch yourself sooner and sooner before exploding at someone or before becoming angry. And then couple that with not attaching your state of being to your circumstances. Anger is not like, so there's a confusion there that you have, that like some teachers like anger, some teachers don't. Here's the thing. If you are angry, it's still better than being absolutely depressed, being absolutely cynical about life, apathetic about life. This is based on the energetic scale that I think David Hawkins did, which labels anger at a higher energy level, a higher level of consciousness than apathy or depression, things like that. However, if you continue to practice anger again and again, you will continue to get lower and lower in energy levels and sink into those states of apathy and depression and whatnot. So the way to do it is, if you want to move up into states where you never even experience anger, like legit, truly, I don't know about you, Lawrence, but I personally rarely ever experience anger because I've taken those two steps to, one, become conscious of how these feelings are not me. They happen within my experience, they happen to me, but they are not me. Once you break that identification, it won't control you. And second, I've really worked on not attaching how I feel to what happens outside, to what I see. So those two things will really, really help you. But the way to move up is really to become conscious of the anger, not suppress it, because suppression will also lead you to move down into those states of depression and apathy. Okay? Anger is not good or bad. It is just unconscious behavior. And unconscious behavior will always lead you to create a reality that is undesired, that is not pleasant. So sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to come to terms with it. Better sooner than later. Yep. Do it now.
Yeah. For sure. What was the question again?
What do you think of anger? Some teachers hate anger, saying it's not spiritual, while some take a better stance on it by saying that it's much better than being sad, for example.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said. I think anger is a higher vibration than despair or depression. Pretty much agree with everything you said. I'm not going to say I've completely conquered anger, but I can attest to the freedom of not holding on to it, and also not trying to suppress it, but just acknowledging it as just a function of your body, being aware of it, where it's coming from, and just kind of letting it pass. And I can't say that I don't experience anger. I get angry all the time still, but I'm not debilitated by it, and it doesn't last very long. And I'm getting better every day. So just, yeah, letting it, just being aware of it and not trying to stop anything. Attachment, the whole attachment thing, it goes both ways. You don't want to be attached to an outcome. You also don't want to be attached to attachment, or attached to detachment, or afraid of yourself. So just kind of let things flow and trust yourself, and keep in mind that at the end of the day, if you live a blessed life, then everything a part of your life is a part of a blessed life. And to remember that's what it is.
Cool. So that's all the questions we're going to cover for today. There are a lot of questions that were from YouTube that I couldn't get to. I think we're already been on for like an hour and something, right? Maybe like 2 hours. So anyone on the live stream have questions right now? Any last questions? Any last words? Again, if you're watching on YouTube later when this is posted, this Q&A is brought to you by the Transurfing Reality course. If you want to really change your life with Reality Transurfing, you want to learn the process, the main concepts explained to you in a very simple way, click the link in the description box below and considering enrolling in this course. And then you could also participate in these live Q&As when they're actually happening, okay? So it looks like that's all the questions. So we'll say goodbye for today. Lawrence, do you want to add anything?
No, that's it.
Awesome.
Stay frosty out there.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.